Hey there, Charlani here. So I just would like to jump in and let's talk about how to keep that happy vibe, that positive energy flowing when you're surrounded by negative energy, maybe people who are not as positive as you, maybe when you're surrounded by people who are in a bad mood, because those situations are hard, and if you're around them a lot or if you grew up with them, you're the way that you react to certain situations like that kind of are ingrained in you. But I have to tell you guys that you absolutely can change this. This is a tool that you can learn the more you use it. Obviously, the better it's going to get for you, the easier it's going to be, the more natural it's going to feel. But you got to start implementing it because it is absolutely something that has changed my life, has changed the way that I react to negative situations. And I'm not always perfect. I am a work in progress, just like everybody else. We are always learning. We are always trying to be better, right? So this is something that has definitely made a big difference in my life, and I'm thinking that it's going to be able to help you too. So let's say you're going into a workspace and you know that you are surrounded by a few negative people there, or you know that the vibe, the energy that you're going into is going to be stressful or anxiety ridden, right? So before you enter that room, you have to set your intention for how you want to feel, what kind of energy you want to bring into that situation. If you know it's going to be super negative, what maybe can you do before you walk into that situation and make it better? Maybe you can just, before you walk in, just take a few seconds and slap a smile on your face and go in there with the intention of, today is going to be a great day. I am going to be nice to people who might be short with me, who might be mean to me. You got to make sure that you are setting that intention and that you are going in there with a positive mindset. So you want to think about, who do you want to be, right? When you envision your best self, what does that person look like? How would that person handle somebody negative coming at them? Because here's also the thing about negative people. Usually when people are mean, they're going through something else. They are going through a bad time. They have a negative energy, usually for a reason, and it usually has nothing to do with you. So you have to think about, okay, so me being my best self, how would I then handle this situation? Anticipate it so that you know when that happens, you're going to have an idea of how you're going to react to that. So you got to start thinking about who you want to be, who you really truly want to become, and then you need to start acting like that person for sure. So this is something that I learned from Brendan Burchard, and he says you have to self-will your happiness. You have to self-will that positive vibe to keep it sustained when you're in a negative situation, or when you're surrounded by people who can be downers or pessimistic. Those are things that you have to really, really work at. And I'll tell you that growing up, I have a hot button. I do. It's been a long time really since I've been completely set off, but I definitely do have that. I come from a family of freaker-outers, and my mom is a classic freaker-outer. She'll tell you that too. My dad would say, don't let the pressure get to you, and which is the worst thing to say to somebody who is freaking out to begin with. But I have inherited that gene for sure. And those are things that, again, which is why planning for me is such a huge part of my life, because it wards off a lot of the stress and anxiety of certain situations. So I freak out a lot less because I am anticipating what's going to happen. I know what's coming up and I'm prepared for it. So, I also come from a line of people who definitely have short fuses, and I have one too. When my buttons are pushed, I can roll with the best of them, but I really have tried really, really hard in the latter part of my adult life to rein that in and not react, because when I do react, I inherently always feel bad, no matter what. And I try to not put myself in those situations because I always end up feeling really, really bad. So, but if my hot button's pushed, I'm just gonna spout off, and usually I can be pretty mean. I'm a very nice person, but if you really make me mad, I can be mean. But I have learned over the last several years, just looking internally and looking at personality and looking at how other people react to certain situations and why they react to those situations. And usually when they react to whoever they're reacting to has nothing to do with that person. It's an internal dialogue that they're having with themselves. It's perception of what they think that you're saying. And a lot of the times it really truly doesn't have anything to do with you. So you have to just know and truly know in your mind and self-will that positive affirmation, that positive mindset. Like, it's okay. That person's got an issue right now. Apparently it's an issue with me, but that's okay. You've got to just make sure that you take their energy in, that's fine, but it cannot change the way that you feel. So you also have to understand that your energy also affects other people. So that goes both ways. So if you're in a bad mood, I'm sure that if you've ever been in this kind of a situation where you are in a bad mood and for some reason you say something to someone else and it sparks them, and now you've got two people in a bad mood, which is just a combustible situation, right? Well, the problem is that that person doesn't have those tools to accept your bad energy and diffuse it. They also have a bad energy, and it's both of you not using the tools that you need to develop to not take on somebody else's energy. So when you go into a room, and like I said, before you walk into that room, set your intention. How do I want this to go? How do I want to feel? Anticipate some of the drama that's going to come your way, because you've got people in your lives. They are all about drama. They are all about talking smack about other people. They are all about themselves. And those are situations that you've got to anticipate so that you know how you're going to react to them, so that when you're in the moment, you're not just reacting and lashing out or lashing right back at somebody, because that never is a good situation. It never ends well. And if you're anything like me, whenever I'm mean back to somebody, I always feel bad, because when I come back and I'm out of the situation and I can think about it and I can kind of understand what had happened, I realize that them treating me the way that they just did really didn't have anything to do with me. And then I feel really bad, because then I just made their lives harder because I was mean right back to them. And they just don't usually need more mean. So when you go into those situations, you've got to, like I said, again, self-will that happy vibe. You can take on someone's negativity, that's okay, but you can't let it change it. And it's something that you've got to work on, because it's not an easy thing to do. I deal with negative people all the time, I deal a lot with social media, and we get negativity all the time, and people who don't agree with our views, or people who, comment rudely on a picture that you post. And, now it's kind of like, well, whatever, if you think I have a long face, that's okay. There's not much I can do with that. It's just the way that it is. But you can't let those things bother you. And I did. I mean, for a long time, I really did. And I only bring that one up because that one did bother me for a really long time. Somebody commented on one of my YouTube videos, and they said that my face was really long. And I was like, what does that even mean? And it bothered me for a long time. And Rob was like, he's a troll. Like, that's what they do. They just want a reaction out of people. And I was like, well, he got it. And so anyways, those are things that you have to just kind of go, you know what? It happens. It's not a big deal. Clearly, if that person is a troll and their job is to go out there and be mean and upset other people, how negative is their life? Like, how terrible would that kind of a job be? It would be really hard, I think. So, these are tools that you can learn. You got to practice them all the time. I think about it all the time. How do I want to handle a situation? Before I walk into Target, I think about the intention that I am setting for the vibe that I am bringing in with me. Have you ever noticed, and I notice this all the time because it's something that I try and do every single time I am out in a public place. I slap on kind of a half smile because I want to be friendly. I want to be approachable. I don't want to have RBF, right? Resting bitch face. I don't want that. So I try really hard to have a positive vibe about myself. And when I make eye contact with anybody, I smile all the time, every time. And most times I will get a smile back, which makes me so happy because sometimes I don't get a smile back. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. But usually if you see me out and about and we make eye contact, I usually will always try to smile because it just makes whoever is around you feel more comfortable. And you've got to learn to bring that vibe with you. And I know, you guys, I know it's so hard. It is so hard sometimes when you've got people coming at you and you're, trying your best to stay positive, but it's just the situation is a negative situation. Set your intention, do the absolute best that you can to really self-will yourself. Will that positive energy into effect. You've got to bring it into action. So set that intention with it and take action. Start acting like the person that you want to become. You have to start acting like that person. It's not like you can just think about, okay, this is how I want to act. This is how I want to be. I want my behavior to be like this. I don't want to react this way to this situation. These are things that you have to think about so that when the situation comes up or you find yourself in a circumstance that is something that you have anticipated, then your reaction is going to be one of happiness. All right. I hope that helped you guys. And, leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any ideas of something that you want to talk about, if you have ideas of, what do you do during your day to diffuse a situation, or to set your intentions for your day, or when you're entering into a situation. How do you handle that? What do you do? All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day or evening, and we will see you soon.